another student. So I have a friend who's going to try to cue me that I'm getting to talk too long. The first thing I have to do, I know it's not the Academy Awards, but so many people have been important to helping this whole process to evolve. I just need to take a few minutes to thank them. And first and foremost is to thank my wonderful partner, Jay, over there, who's trying to... I mean, I think a lot of you know that I'm getting old. I'm going to be 87 a week after the show closes. And I don't have the stamina that I had a few years ago. And if I can spend 3 or 4 hours in the studio, it's only because Jay will make dinner and go shopping and do the laundry and pick up all the errands for me. Otherwise, you wouldn't see all this work. So, thank you. Okay. And then beyond that, we have to thank all those other people, like my dearest friend, Steve McKenzie, who's standing over here in one of his crazy outfits. And Stephen has been my friend for, I don't know, 30 years maybe. And he is my stalwart. He's the one who comes up with ideas of how I was running out of space. My studio is not as big as this room, and I needed places to keep on making work, so Steve thought it over, and he came up with, I could make foam core boards, and we could hang them from the ceiling, and he created walls. And on those walls came pictures, and we have 288 only because we ran out of walls, obviously. And then, of course, is my wonderful new assistant, Shayna Miller. And she is just an absolute prize. She's a brilliant artist. She's very much the opposite of me. She's calm, collected, and organized. She doesn't talk as much as I do. And she really is a tremendous helper. She's just wonderful. And then, of course, there is Jay Zerby. Hello. And Jay Zerby is an artist in Chicago. And when I said on Facebook that I would love to have people collaborate with me and make flags for the new land, Jay Zerby volunteered. I don't think he knew what he was getting into, but he volunteered to create this online site. Now, I don't know how to use a computer any more than just writing emails and posting things on Facebook and Instagram. And so he's been doing that, and every time people went and changed their picture, he would have to change the picture in the online site, and then he created a whole spreadsheet for Ellie so that she could set this wonderful room up here. And he deserves a tremendous vote of thanks. Well, of course, he's not here, he's in Chicago. Then, of course, there is Megan and her staff who installed all this work. And they got thanked before, but I have to thank them especially to everyone because I just couldn't imagine how they could install it. And it looks absolutely beautiful. I'm so overwhelmed. I told her I'm jumping out of my skin. Okay, and beyond that, there's the entire community of artist friends on Facebook who actually made this show happen. Because I started out a long time ago making small things, and one of my former students, I don't know if anyone who's here remembers her. Do you remember Annette? Yeah, okay. Someone's taught music. Anyway, Annette Shelton once said, you don't like working small, but you need to work small. And so look what you did, you made small big. And she wrote me that just the other day. And of course, that is what happened, is I had to adjust to making small because I didn't have the stamina to continue with the 7-foot oil paintings that I've been making. And yet I still wanted big, so look what happened. And then beyond that, I want to thank 2 very special critics. I don't know that they'll ever get here, but they get thanked. It's Jerry Soltz and Roberta Smith, because they saw my work on Facebook and they commented. And Jerry commented all through various and sundry pictures that I did. one time when I was going through one of my rather frequent depressions, I posted that I was in a blue funk. And somehow Jerry saw that. And he posted this incredible painting of a woman in a boudoir surrounded by luxurious pillows and everything. And he said, this is what you need if you're in a blue funk. And then he started making comments about my work. And that made a difference because it was hard to sustain not just the energy, but the belief that what I was doing was worth it. And when the time came for the election, and I completely fell apart. I don't know how many of you heard Brainerd Carey's interview with me on Yale Radio, but he and I both cried because he interviewed me just a few days after the election. And I was just so depressed, and I said, I don't see any point to painting anymore. And then Jay said something wonderful. I don't know that I can remember his exact words, but he said, artists have to keep making work because it's not just about the immigrants that are trying to come here, it's about the immigrants of the entire world, including all of us, because we are a world of immigrants, and that's what your work is about. And then Roberta posted something, I think on Instagram, or maybe it was Twitter, that I think was the day after the election, and she said, we are now strangers living in a strange world. And here I was making new land in the hope that there could be a better land. This work, when it started, the first picture that's up there, number 1, was made in, no, that's not the first picture, excuse me. This is the first picture. It's on a different wall. They used it on the cover of their fall brochure, and it's called Convocation. And that was on July 7th, 2015. And the last picture that I did, which is, I don't know where it is, but it's somewhere there. All right. The one that was 288.
Yeah, all the way on the left, the bottom.
That was in March of 2018. So it was almost 3 years of work that this encompassed. But there were periods of time when I didn't work because I got too blue and couldn't work. And I wanted to also thank not just Brainerd Carey for the interview, but Gigi Kraft, who interviewed me for this prestigious View magazine in Zurich, because being in such prestigious company gave me a sense that I'd never had before, because I live outside of the art world. I haven't had a commercial gallery since 1977, and I haven't tried to get one, to tell you the truth. And I couldn't believe that someone was putting me in the same category as a magazine that had interviewed Louise Bourgeois and Kiki Smith and all these big name people. And it gave me this burst of, well, maybe no one's ever heard of me, but I'm really doing okay. And for someone who spends a lot of years being extremely insecure, like me, this was a very, very important moment. And then I have to thank the people who wrote the essays in the catalog, Dina Muller and Greta Berman, and Brandon Ryan, who assisted me with writing my own statement. And I don't think he knows that he did that. He hasn't seen the catalog yet, but Tracy will tell me. She's and the only other person I'm going to thank couldn't possibly be here. She lives near Washington and she's in her 90s. But my next door neighbor and old friend, Olga Abbott, who was the person that started me out to think about studying art and becoming an artist. And that's a story I can't tell in a 15-minute interview. Okay, so now let's just talk about New Land itself. When I first started and did this picture, this is a sort of cropped reproduction of it. You'll have to look for it on the wall. Oh, there it is. Colleen is pointing to it. It's much softer than it looks in the picture. Anyway, I did that, and I didn't know what I was doing. It didn't look like anything I'd ever done before. And I started started thinking it reminds me of, oh God, I'm gonna have a senior moment. And I can't think of his name. Well, Jacob Lawrence, that's what I know. It reminded me of Jacob Lawrence migration pictures. But I wasn't thinking migration. I was just thinking about the fact that I was making flattened figures that were moving across. And now I practically never made anything with any figures. And I just really didn't understand what I was doing. So the next day I did the one above it, which was also sort of Convocation 2. And that one I added more pattern, more design. So it seemed a little bit more familiar to the way I usually work. And I would say it took me 3 or 4 days, maybe 5. And I was writing notes in my journal, and I wrote down on my journal, still don't know what I'm doing, but I think I'm in a new land. And after a while, it dawned on me, you are in a new land, and that's the name of the series. But I still had no idea that it was going to have anything to do with migrants. It was more or less me, as an artist, who was trying to find a new path, who was working out a new way of manipulating materials, because I was working with gouache, which I wasn't used to. And that was also due to one of my private students who I don't think is here. Is Sarah here? Tracy, is Sarah here? No. Well, Sarah gave me a gift of gouache paints and told me I needed to learn how to use gouache. And so what happened was the first wall had gouache and oil pastel. And then I finally said, you need to really work on learning how to use gouache. So I put away the oil pastel, because the oil pastel made it easier. I could slide it around and push it, and it was just easier to use. And from then on, it became mostly just gouache, because I think you're probably interested in the process of the work itself. And I wanted to say that my process is very much motivated by a particular piece of music. So I brought the case because when I'm excited, I can't even think. It's the music of Olivier Messiaen, which is very mystical. And I myself am not at all religious, but this mystical music somehow spoke to me. And I have played this same recording for years and years and years now. I wore it out, had to buy several more CDs. And this is being played by a wonderful French pianist, Jean-Pierre Aymar. And it's called Vingt Regards sur l'Enfant de Jésus, which of course he wrote it, and it's meaning very religious. I used it to create the story of migrants. And the way I use it is I come into the studio and the first thing I do is close the door, because now I'm in my own world, and I put the music on, and I sit there for a little while letting the music fill me. And then I go to my work table, and paper is ready, and I lay both hands on the paper, and I close my eyes, and I listen to the music. And the music starts to fill me, and all of a sudden I feel my fingers are moving. So I have a carbon pencil right there, I pick it up, and with my eyes closed I start to draw. But I'm not drawing anything that I can see in my head. I have no idea what's going to happen. And I just let it move, and of course each day this music will be end at a different place. So there'll be different dynamics, different speed. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's very, very loud, and sometimes it's very, very soft. And so my pencil will be responding to that quality of music. And I don't know what makes me stop. Maybe it's the edge of the paper. And then I'll open my eyes and take a look and see what kind of scribble scrabble have I made. And sometimes I find forms in it. A little bit like when you look at clouds and you think you see a dog, and you say, oh no, I see a man. And I'll look and I'll say, oh, I think I see a person. Maybe I'll outline that a little stronger. And other times I have no idea what's there. So I just pick up the brush and the color, and from then on, it's all about color. Me as an artist is all about color, as you can see. I started to become an artist because I fell in love with color, and the work that I've done after this is even more colorful than this is. So color is key. And the brush and the paint lead me into the work. I didn't start with an idea. I didn't start with, I'm going to tell a political story. I didn't start with, oh, today I'm going to make a picture of da-da-da-da-da-da, except there were a few exceptions. And those were the ones that sort of told me that this was really an important story that would speak universally, not just about my art. And one of those pictures is right over Doug's head. There is like a ghost that's pointing to a very colorful cart that's got wheels that are tilted. And there had been a story in the newspaper about a group of people who were in a truck. They were trying to migrate. And the truck was abandoned. Those people were locked inside it. They all suffocated and died. And I cried and cried when I read it. But at that point, I had been working every single day in a really disciplined fashion. And I knew I had to go to the studio, even if I was crying. So that painting was made with tears, and the title, I believe, is something like, "Through the Tears, These People Are Never Going to Reach the New Land." So there were times when the news crept into my work. Another very important one is also near, above Colleen, on the very top, it's brown, and it's got orange in it in the middle of it, but it says death. And this was the horrible shooting at Charlie Hebdo's office in Paris. And at the same time, there'd been terrorist raids in Mali and in Congo. And I was so angry. And I thought that was the ugliest thing I'd ever made in my life. And I posted it, and Roberta Smith responded to it. And I was shocked. Roberta Smith thinks this is good. Jerry thinks this is good. I think it's ugly. But it told me that ugly is okay. And I didn't have to be concerned about making things that were beautiful. But it also told me that I can't take this much emotion. I'm an extremely emotional person, and poor Jay is the only one who knows just how hard that is to live with. So I would alternate days when I made things that were really silly and ridiculous and funny, and I tried to cover through my process all kinds of subjects. Like there's one over there, this is the wall I'm looking at, in which there's a figure in red, and that one really is about gender, but I didn't know it was going to happen until I made it. I just saw this big figure, and it looked sort of mannish, but I put it into women's clothes. And then I made a funny title for it. I forgot how exactly it goes. Darling, will they ever accept us in the new land? And almost all the titles end in questions. And people began to write to me on Facebook and say, "Oh, my grandfather told me that when he got to Ellis Island, that was just what he was asking. Will there be a place for us to live? Will our children be able to go to school? Will we have enough to eat?" And I used all those kind of titles to tell this story. Oh, it's getting close. Okay, I'm moving on. Okay, when I tell you that the titles tell the story, they were very kind, and they made these brochures. If you take a brochure and you follow the numbers, you will then know which title goes with which picture. And what else did I have to say? Oh my God, I forgot. The flags. This whole room over here. And this is so important. It's a good thing I have my outline next to me. I get excited and I forget. I put up this post on Facebook asking for people who would collaborate with me. And some absolutely wonderful artists made work. And I wanted their work to be as diverse as mine. So the only instructions I gave were, please try to make it small. Not everybody listened to that. There are a few big ones. But I said any medium, it can be sculpture, it can be painting, it can be printing, it can be drawing, it can be photograph, it can be anything at all. And it doesn't have to tell my story because it's everybody's story. The story, we are all one world. And the other day I was trying to think about what I wanted to say. And I realized that even though my family didn't ever sit around the dinner table and talk because they were always, my parents had a store and they were never home for dinner, I found a book that my father was reading, which I still have, Wendell Willkie's One World. And so I guess I grew up with a thought stuck somewhere in my unconscious. And all my paintings come from my unconscious, and the unconscious is a collective universe. So we don't really know what's in there unless we let it out. And so obviously it was implanted in me a very long time ago, the importance of everybody in the world having freedom, having a choice, having a chance, given an opportunity. And the diversity that I employ in my work is also employed by the people who made me the flags. And the catalog, where is it? The catalog is for sale. It cost me $4,000 because of my long titles, because I told the person making it that we had to have all the titles of it. If you don't read the titles, you're not going to know the story, because some of the work is so abstract. And so you can buy one if you wish. They're for sale here. And I think that I better stop. I have a feeling I better stop. Did I go too long?
I don't know. I didn't know.
Thank you.
So I'm going to invite you all to go up to the second floor where Mel Leipzig would like to say a few words about the 4 artists in the exhibition upstairs. Thank you.